You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Bermondsey. Accept no substitute.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome, dear listeners. Welcome to Achtung Millwall on a sunny, cold but sunny afternoon here in South Bermondsey. There is only one story at the Den today, though, dear listeners. That is, of course, the return after 4.5 years, 5 years nearly, the return of the prodigal son. Greatest player the club has ever had, one of the great managers, Mr. Neil Harris, of course. After that fantastic win at Southampton last week, the Den is filling up very nicely on this beautiful sunny afternoon. We're awaiting the two teams coming out. Your Millwall lineup this afternoon, dear listeners: Sarkic in goal, back four, McNamara, Cooper, Tanganga and Ryan Leonard. Midfield two of Saville and Leonard. In front of them, a front three, if you like: Honeyman, Fleming and one more in for Bradshaw. Tom Bradshaw was injured today. In front of them, Michael Obafemi. Huge anticipation around the Den today. Who knows what kind of performance we're going to get. But this is big time atmosphere inside the Den, dear listeners. Here come the two teams. What a performance down there at St Mary's last week. 2-1 win, of course, at Southampton. Real turnaround in form, turnaround in performance, on and off the pitch. Neil Harris, of course, has been at great pains to stress the unity on the terraces and on the pitch. That's going to be crucial this afternoon against the Watford side that come to us in 11 spots. Middle for diddle, 44 points. Lions, of course, just 1 point clear of Stoke now in that third relegation spot. Other teams around us are finding form. We need a win today, listeners. This is a game we really can't afford to lose. We need a win, minimum point, but I think a win this afternoon. On the bench today, Bob Belkowski, Murray Wallace, Ryan Longman, Adam Mayor, Joe Bryan back from injury, Brooke Norton-Cuffy, Adamo Amaku, Casper Denor and Roman Esse. Injury to Tom Bradshaw, apparently that's going to leave us still flimsier in the striking department, so a huge amount rests on the shoulders of Michael Obafemi. This afternoon we may see Adamo Amaku, depending on his fitness, at some point. Speaking to BBC Sport London, Neil Harris said last week Southampton was astounding. It even amazed me after 17 years at this football club. People say to me, we just won our Millwall back. Big sense of that around the Den this afternoon, dear listeners. As you can probably hear, I want my players to turn up and embrace it and enjoy it, says Neil. Writing in the, it's not really the match day programme, it's an online newsletter, a kind of a milky toast version of the match day programme. Neil Harris says, I want the opponents to feel fear and trepidation when they step out, like so many teams have done here in the past. Music to my ears. Watford this afternoon, wearing a kind of a Manchester City style, Lazio style, sky blue and white ensemble. They're normally in yellow and black. I don't know what the problem is. Maybe it's more black than yellow this season, I think. Anyway, they're out there in City's colours. Lions, of course, in dark blue and white. Millwallness, Neil Harris continues. This is an interview with the London Evening Standard. He wants to bring the Millwallness back to the football club. Let's see what we get, dear listeners. Millwall will be attacking the away end, as per the Venerable Bede. Writing in the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, we said, laid it out, first verse, chapter 1, page 1. Millwall shall attack the away end in the first half. The Venerable Bede. Amazing, really, but true. What a contrast, what a game football is. The contrast between now and that, the last time I was here was at Shambles versus Sheffield Wednesday. Listen to the support. Game is underway, early foray forwards. This is little head tennis. This is Michael Obafemi on the edge of the penalty area. The 12 brings it away. There's the first chorus of what I think will be a familiar refrain this afternoon, dear listeners. Early kick on Obafemi over on the right side. It's going to be a free kick, Millwall. Yellow card, straight at it for the 39. Just put him on warning. Joel Saville. The outstanding performances last week, take your pick. I mean, obviously everyone was talking about Jeff Tanganga, who is in the area at the moment as I speak. But take your pick between Tanganga, Ryan Leonard, the two midfielders, Billy Mitch and Joel Saville, and others as well. It was a team performance. Early opportunity for the Lions here then. We're barely a minute into the game. This is a right-sided free kick. Joel Saville standing over it. Chance to put the ball into the big men. Jake's in there. Tanganga's in there. Leonard lurking on the left side. In it comes. It's headed away. This is Honeyman's put the ball into touch. No, yeah. Crowd howling for a Millwall throw, but they're not going to get it over on that right side there, listeners. So yeah, what a show last week down there at Southampton. 2,700 travelled down to see it. Not many empty seats around. I did see a post from the club to say 800 tickets were left today. There are a few blue seats knocking around, a few around me in Birdshit Corner, which is living up to its name today. Fleming takes a tumble. I mentioned on our post-Southampton shows the arm round, Neil Harris putting his arm round Zian Fleming. I think he sees a player that he can work with in Zian. He worked a really nice free kick. I'm reminded of the ghost of Dennis Wise with the way he fell over there. It's a free kick for the Lions, probably about 30 yards out. I think worth a go for a player of Zian Fleming's obvious talents. A Dutch master, the Rembrandt of Rotherhithe. About 2 minutes into the game, the ball has been relentlessly down at the Watford end since kick-off. Zian is lining up to take it. Watford goalkeeper in a kind of a Cerise-style number. Here we go. Oh, 1-0 Millwall! In off the right post, Zian Fleming! What a start for Millwall! What a free kick! Didn't look terribly powerful. It was placed bottom right-hand corner, right side. Placed inside the post. Goalkeeper didn't get down in time. It's 1-0 to Millwall. What a start. What a return. You could not write this for a film, dear listeners, could you? Not that I could do it, but I thought it wasn't one of Zian's best free kicks. It was on target, that's for sure. Maybe that's number 1 point. And it was hit with, it was placed well. It wasn't massively powerful, but it's crept in. It's 1-0 to the Lions. 3 minutes according to Bazell watch. What a life story, Neil Harris. If you wrote it for one of these Netflix sports documentaries, you'd say they're going over the top. It's going into the realms of fiction. But there we are. Lions lead. Long way to go in this game. Lions leading early 1-0. Bosh, there's a long ball out of defence. No more Joe Edwards style playing it around inside your own penalty area. Jake just sent that down like a Storm Shadow missile down the other end of the pitch. Bit of current affairs for you there, dear listeners. Southampton had 80% possession last weekend to our 20, which I thought quite ironic because that was the reverse of that at Fulham. If anyone thinking back to the painful end of the first period of Neil Harris's management in 2019, we got beat at Fulham. With them having 80-something% of the possession, 6-1 I think it was, wasn't it? 6-0, can't remember. I know it was felt to be one of the reasons why Harris would go no further at Millwall at that time, and yet here he is again, in our hour of need, like King Arthur, dashing to the rescue from the mists of time. Ball into the box, the 30 fired it into the side netting now. I thought for one awful moment that had gone in the net. Quickly taken throw in on the left, and the 30 was through, but it's fired in from a very tight angle into the side netting, dear listeners. So yeah, it's all go. Ball breaks. Danny Mack now on the left, of course, the unfamiliar left. Gets clipped by the 25. Saville concedes a throw in there. Just ran into trouble a little bit there, Danny. Fair play to him. He did well, I thought, playing well out of position on the left side. He is a right back by trade. I think it was John Rankin on our show pointed out the only other one that I can think of that made a career out of playing on the wrong side for his foot was Ian Dawes, member of the First Division squad back in the classic era. Great player too. I'm here for a reason, says Neil Harris, preparing for an emotional reunion with the Den today. This is in the Evening Standard, and that is to bring the Millwallness back to the football club. I think that has gone missing somewhat, listeners. Don't you agree? We've slightly lost our handle on who we are and what we are. I still applaud the ambition of the Joe Edwards move, but I think the Millwallness had kind of faded away under Gary Rowett with his boredom style tactics. That eroded the sense of coming to the Den being a fearful thing. I mean, our home form for some time has been poor. That continued under Joe Edwards as he was trying to take our football up a level. The wisdom of that mid-season is open to debate, but that's in the past now. But now it's back to basics with Neil Harris. So far so good, leading 1-0. Last week's win was based on work rate, dear listeners. So's this week, if we can pull this off. Work, work, work. Industry, industry, industry. That sounds like a political slogan. Education, education, education. Crime, crime, crime. Watford being forced back here while this Monk chant takes hold around the stadium. Have a listen. A lot of coverage for the 2.5 minute long Monk chant last week down there at Southampton. Ball breaks, Joe Saville in the middle. Trying to find Duncan Watmore, taken away from at the last by the last defender there, the free. Described memorably by one of their, I think it was a vlogger, as a really annoying, persistent drone from the Millwall end. Actually, there's some really great examples of Alan Partridge-style video vlogs at Southampton. No more Maldini by Jake Cooper, listeners. It's all punted straight forwards now, old school. That's the way we like it. Small detail, but it looks like we've upgraded our flags over in the Docker stand. We've got a much cleaner version of the St George's cross. Ball breaks. This is Femi. Wow, that was an ambitious shot from distance. Let's just say it was a long way out, almost from the halfway. Beckham style there, but had none of the pizzazz that Beckham brought when he scored that famous goal. It looks like the Union flag, the Millwall blue flag in the middle, and then the St George's cross are all clean and look like they're fairly new, so it's good to see. I like these kinds of details. Details make the football experience, listeners. Maybe that's where the cleaning the bird shit budget's gone, upgrading the flags. Interesting that Harris, in his programme notes, so to speak, talks about educating the players as to what's required at the Den. The older school would have known that, but the goalkeeper's put his foot over the ball. I thought it was going to trickle in the net for one moment. It's gone for a left-sided corner. You don't see that very often. A pass back to the goalkeeper and lost his plot. Left-sided corner, Millwall. What a hoot that would have been if it had gone in net. 22 minutes into the halfway point. It's been bright stuff by the Lions. Really nothing for Watford pressing forwards. Lions leading by that early free kick from Zian Fleming. But we've looked to be playing with some vim, some energy. Nothing inspirational, but a lot of movement, a lot of work, a lot of industry. Oh, that's a great tackle there, Joe Saville, sliding tackle. Some crunching tackles there. That's going to run through to Martia Sarkic in goal, who incidentally was refused a handshake at the end of the game, obviously by the surly Russell Martin, the Southampton manager, who continued to play this surly role post the Liverpool FA Cup game. I think they got beat 3-0, and I came across a post-match interview with Russell Martin. As with us, basically everyone else seems to be rubbish apart from his team that played beautiful football, but I noted they again got beat. Ball through, it's run through, beat the goalkeeper, what more? Oh, he's at the posts! Very, very tight angle. Defence getting into an awful pickle there. This is now, they're back in under pressure in their own defence. Here comes Watmore again. Wonderful stuff, Duncan Watmore. Billy Mitch. Bodies in the end, prevailing now. Watford bring it away. There was one moment Watmore managed to evade the goalkeeper and defender, but such a tight angle. I think he actually hit the base of the post. I'd have to see that again though, listeners. Drama. There's been more drama in this half an hour or so of football than I can recall in the whole seasons of Gary Rowett football. We had a good stop there by Martia Sarkic, low drive on target, and he got down well to block that and retain the spin-off. Incidentally, dear listeners, do send me your post-match thoughts, views, musings and opinions after today's game. You can send me a message on Twitter, direct message. There's a little sound option, little squiggly line, the corner direct message. Great work, Michael Obafemi. Forcing a throw-in. Forces the defender to make an error. Listen to the crowd, listeners. Millwall throwing down by the left side corner flag, and that's purely Michael Obafemi chasing and being persistent there. Good work there. It's going to be a Zian long throw. Yeah, do send me your voice notes after the game. If you've got my WhatsApp number, you can WhatsApp a voice note to me, or you can just go onto Twitter, send me a direct message, a sound file. always appreciate. Get some great characters on the voicemail show. I love that. I love doing that show. Really appreciate everyone that contributes to it. In comes the long throw from Zian. It's in towards Jake, gets a ball head to it. It falls to Obafemi. It's a foot up there from Duncan Watmore as it was bouncing around the danger zone near ahead. Great work there by George Honeyman. Seen some really strong effort so far, listeners. Good tackling. Free kick for Watford. Player falls over under the pressure of George Saville there. There it goes. It's over the crossbar. Curled up and over. Not far over. Huge congratulations, dear listeners, for James Berylson and Steve Kavanagh, who received the Power of Football Award midweek in honour of the late Millwall chairman John Berylson. And there's a great interview. Get a chance to have a look on BBC London, BBC Sport London's Twitter account. There's a link to an interview with Steve Kavanagh and James Berylson for that award in honour of the great John Berylson, best chairman ever. Certainly be it'd be in that sentence. Put it that way, listeners. So do check that out. It's on BBC London Sport at BBC London Sport. I was looking on the Millwall Online website, and there was a great conversation on there about the aforesaid Southampton vlogger who resembled like a bad version of Alan Partridge. And it was a wonderful quote. I can't remember who said it, but congratulations whoever put this on Millwall Online about people were standing at football matches with microphones in their hands whilst their old ladies are getting squared off at home by the next door neighbour. So, not me, not in my case. I don't think they meant it in my case, listeners. She wouldn't, would she? Here comes Watford. Ball out wide left. What are we on here? This is 35 minutes. Yeah, but talking contemptuously about the modern phenomenon of vlogging. This was a video of a bloke watching the game. People watch this stuff. It's quite interesting. Offside. I shan't be going down that road at any stage, listeners. Don't fear not. I'm strictly a sound-only podcast. I feel happiest and most comfortable doing it this way. I couldn't sit in front of a camera for 90 minutes staging reactions to incidents, But there's a big demand for it. I mean, what you can't argue against is the numbers of viewers that these people get. I don't know how much money you make out of it. You certainly don't make fortunes doing sound podcasts unless you're at the very top table, but to do that, I don't know. It just wouldn't be me. So no fear on that front, on any of those fronts. There's a great tackle there by George Honeyman. And through the game so far, we are at 38 minutes into this first half. Got ourselves ahead, and we've worked hard. We have worked very, very hard, and that's good to see. That's one of the essentials, I think, that Neil Harris would have drilled into this squad. You've got to put the effort in. And that wasn't happening for Joe Edwards, for whatever reason. I don't propose to dwell on it, because we've got a relegation fight to get through, but we weren't seeing the same levels of work under Joe Edwards, were we? Leonard chasing back there. Beautiful defensive work by Ryan Leonard. Now listen to that applause, listeners. Fast man on that left side, and Leonard matched him stride for stride there and steered the ball out for a goal kick. Top work, Ryan Leonard. Been a good half for Millwall, really. Early goal, obviously, for Zian Fleming. Well placed free kick from distance. Otherwise, it's been a half of everything, all the attributes that we were talking about before the game. Industry, hard work, collectiveness, some really good, strong defensive tackling. And we've looked dangerous on occasion. We had a moment where Watmore might feel he could have done a little bit better. He did very well to get that narrow angle shot, and I believe it hit the base of the post. But as it is, it's we're just going to pot here. This is with 25. I'm probably tempting fate. The ball into the box. That's cleared away from Sarkic there by Ryan Leonard. Watford do retain possession on the left side now. Mill just got to see this half through, leading at 1-0. Little moment of panic there earlier on. This is the 2 now on the right side. There's the half-time whistle. So yeah, overall a very, very good half from the Lions. A lot of structure, a lot of work, a lot of industry. Everything we want to see from Mill's side. You can hear the reaction at the end of that first half. Lions leading at half-time, Millwall 1, Watford 0.
Achtung, Millwall.
Just waiting for the two teams to come in. In fact, here do come the Lions listeners. A couple of tweets from half-time. Richard Corley notes that Zian's free kick was his 8th goal of the season. He won the free kick as well, says Richard. Alex Grace says Watford making lots of unforced errors. You feel they could be here for the take if Mill get it right, but one or two others note that we're hitting long balls to short strikers. So how long can that continue? And one that did amuse me was an unknown person called Graham Sturman. Must be Watford. What the fuck is that noise Mill were making? Sort that shit out. The sort of shit you hear in a mental institution, says Graham. Well, mate, it often does feel like a mental institution here at the Den. So we're lining up to kick off the second half. It's going to be Watford attacking their way in. Millwall will be attacking the cold blow, as per the venerable Bede. Away we go. A lot more hard work in the second half, dear listeners. I thought we did very well in that first half. Industry. But more needed to see us through what will be a crucial game. The other results in the relegation fight are not going our way at the moment. Other teams are winning. Stoke were winning. Huddersfield, I think, drew. So we need a result. Oh, that's a great tackle there by Tanganga, listeners. We love a great tackle down the Den, don't we? Beautiful sliding tackle, forces a throw-in. Beautiful sunny afternoon. The crowd, the sun keeps going in and out of clouds, but it's really come out beautifully sunny now. Floodlights are on, so it's one of those very English days. Oh, it's a poor strike by George Honeyman, puts the ball up in the air rather than forwards. Kind of inducing pressure on ourselves. Great take there by Duncan Watmore. He's trying to get away from two defenders. Referee sees nothing now. Great tackle there. Zian Fleming wins a throw-in against the odds throw-in. Finds Obafemi. Surrounded by light blue shirts. Not much in the way of support. He's got Zian now on the right side. Move breaks down, unfortunately. Millwall entirely behind the ball. We saw this at Southampton last week. It worked very well down there. Crowd doing their bit to get behind the side. General sense that we're up against it here. This is a poor cross in from Watford. That's going to go for another throw in for Watford. Millwall got to ride this period out, listeners. 55 minutes. Great defending Tanganga there. Watmore sends the ball down the pitch. Neil Harris asks for efforts from the terracing end on the field. He's getting that. This is the 6 now into the box. Fired in at the near post. It's gone for a goal kick. Wow. Nice possession here by Millwall. Just inside the Watford half. It's a tense match, listeners. You can feel the tension around the Den and you can hear the crowd's response. Mill entirely behind the ball. Play squeezed into a third of the pitch. This is run through to the 12. Hoof clear by Honeyman to no one, unfortunately. So we're just inviting more pressure on ourselves. Crowd howling for... Oh, great sliding tackle there by George Honeyman. Crowd love that. Crowd love that. Looks like Mill going to make a substitution. Brooke Norton-Cuffy coming into the game. We're on, 60, maybe 63 minutes. Watmore's coming out. Norton-Cuffy will come in. Mill will win a throw-in. Good work there by Brooke Norton-Cuffy. We're on 66 minutes. Coming towards the halfway point of the second half. Chance for a Ryan Leonard long throw down by just a few yards short of the right-sided corner flag. In it comes. Decent length on it. It's bounced across the 6-yard box. Obafemi trying a spectacular overhead kick, but it's gone wide, unfortunately. Obafemi's coming out. Midfielder for a striker. I suppose that means Zian goes forwards. If we're going to play with a striker, will we play with a striker? Are we playing with no striker? 71 minutes, listeners. I'm surprised Obafemi's lasted as long as he has in the game, to be honest. I thought he was looking a little bit fatigued as the half has worn on. This won't win any awards for beautiful football. If there are any such awards flying around. There was the Power in Football Award, of course, won by the Berylson family midweek, but I don't know that we'll win any awards for beautiful football. The Pep Guardiola Award for passing. Well, however this finishes, listeners, one of the attributes that Neil Harris was talking about was the kind of Millwall virtues. I think we've seen plenty of that this afternoon. However this finishes, still a long way to go yet. We've got probably about 11 minutes of official time and then added time after that. But we've seen a lot of hard work. It's not been pretty. It's been a grind of a performance. But we've seen all of the old school virtues that we would have expected with the return of Neil Harris. So that in itself is refreshing after what seems like a forever period. The substitution of Longman for Obafemi, I suppose, gives you some sense of how stretched our resources are. We do have Emarku on the bench, but he's only just returning from injury. So possibly Harris feels that this wasn't the environment for him. Just gone past 85 minutes. Yeah, injuries. Blighted our season. Poor forms blighted our season, and chopping and changing managers blighted our season. So we do well to get out this one alive, listeners. At the moment, no, we're on course for a good win here, but we do have some 4 minutes of regular time, perhaps, and whatever added time gets stuck on the end. That's a ball in from the left side. That's headed up and away, bouncing around still. We're not being able to relieve the pressure. This should go to Norton Cuffy. Does well there to concede the throw-in, unfortunately. Well, the pressure remains. Danny speaking to the South London press. Danny McNamara says that the win last week over Southampton proves that we can go up against anybody in the Championship. I do believe that to be true. The virtues that we've mentioned today of hard work, etc., will work against most teams in this division if we get a stroke of luck. Millwall defending like every last man. Millwall hands to the deck defending. Trying to think of an appropriate military metaphor there. Waterloo, the thin red line. Men of the match. George Honeyman I'm going to go for, my man of the match, but the whole team has put a lot into this game. Central defenders, Tanganga and Cooper. Midfield, Saville, Mitchell. I'm going to name George Honeyman as my man of the match. Do tell me what you think, listeners. Send me your voicemails. Why don't you send me your voicemails? Always good to hear from you. Direct message me on X or send me a WhatsApp. You got my number? Or give me a shout on X and we can exchange numbers. What a win! What a win! Hard work, grind of a game. That second minute free kick from Zian for improving the difference. Millwall fought, ground out that win. That was a tough game, listeners. Hats off to the entire side, hats off to Neil Harris for reinvigorating this club, re-galvanising it. That was a magnificent win by the Lions there. The crowd loved it. Listen to that familiar song coming up now. Take it away, Mr. Piper now. He can't find it. There it is. Great win, terrific performance. Can't tell you how tense the second half that was, dear listeners. So top work by the entire Millwall side there, and there's a bit of status quo for you, mate. We'll be back after these messages.
Achtung, Millwall.
Huge welcome on the show now to discuss yesterday's, in my opinion, magnificent 1-0 win over Watford. It's Ben Anthony, show regular Ben Anthony. It's nice to be talking in happy circumstances, Ben.
Yeah, we've had enough conversations about crap losses, Nick. So
Oh, mate.
yeah, it's nice to be on for a win.
I've had a season full of misery, so I've been reading a
Yeah,
lot of different views, takes, and opinions on yesterday's performance. But I would say to any of the moaners out there, that winning beats losing any day of the week. So you can talk about the style and the quality and all the rest of it, Ben. But give me 3 points, and then we can moan about whether it was pretty or not afterwards, because we're in a very strange league at the moment. Everyone suddenly seems to have been galvanised, and they're winning too. So um, someone made a great point that under Joe Edwards, last week's win at Southampton, yesterday's win over Watford, we would be 6 points adrift. I'm second from bottom in reality, and somehow
mhm.
Neil's extracted that level of commitment and performance from the team and crowd yesterday. I got to take my hat off to him. I don't know how he's done it, but he's done it, and there's still a way to go yet. But that offers hope for me, which wasn't there just a fortnight ago.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing he said when he came in was that he's going to show the passion of a Millwall squad. He's going to get the players showing the passion that they need to show and have a bit of grit and determination about them. And he's definitely done that.
Yeah,
It's night and day from what we were seeing before. Um, and a much needed a couple of results because, as you say, we would definitely be firmly in that relegation zone.
we've been in
And
relegation zone with a team that seemed to be. Well, they weren't playing for Joe Edwards. There's no other way to put it. They weren't playing for him. They will play, it seems, for Neil Harris, and maybe that's just the power of um, charisma in football management. I don't know really, because as much as one or two online are yearning for the prettier football. I mean, it's this. Yes, he was effective, albeit perhaps not not the most beautiful game you'll ever see in your life. I mean, it was a fantastic start. That free kick from Zian. I mean, I said in real time, Ben, it wasn't the most powerful free kick. It took a deflection. I watched it back on the highlights reel this morning. I didn't realise in the game yesterday it had taken a deflection off of the back of one of the Watford defenders, which gave it an extra
mm,
kind of curve in flight. But the goalkeeper probably comes from the George Long school of goalkeeping, and thankfully he let it get past him. I thought it came off the post, but I think it was the goalkeeper's hand that I was seeing from my angle. But to get it on target from that distance, 35 yards out, pretty good strike. If not the most powerful one he'll ever do, but it was on target and got in the net, and that gave us that vital lifeline, didn't it?
yeah, those 2 years of watching him take those extra bloody free kicks in the warm up, finally
They came
usually
good.
sculling over the bar, and it finally paid off. Yeah, brilliant. And yeah, it was a deflection off the wall, and yeah, it did look like it was sort of maybe semi fumbled in. But I said on a Twitter sort of post a couple of weeks ago, just before Edwards was sacked, that bad luck is a part of the part of our issue,
Yeah,
and you make your own luck in games, and we made our own luck yesterday, and
yeah.
it paid off. You get a lucky goal, and we had something to hold on to, and the belief and teamwork and organisation to actually hold on to it meant that we came through with the result. So yeah,
Yeah,
brilliant.
no, I 100%. I mean, I'd also throw into the listeners' mix the fact that we're carrying an injury crisis, to say the least. I mean, we've now lost. It seems people are talking about for the season. Tom Bradshaw, an Achilles issue, apparently, is going to see the specialist on Monday. But that really does take us down to the bare bones. It's Michael Obafemi, who still looks like he's trying to build fitness. And that's it. I mean, maybe Idemo Marku coming off the bench, but he doesn't seem 100% fit just yet. So, we are. Neil Harris is trying to manage, a sparse squad for injury and other things, signings not made or whatever. So it's quite a feat to pull off 2 wins in succession at two difficult sides. Southampton, decent side. I thought Watford, although we made them look pretty flat yesterday, they're a decent side too. And they showed little glimpses of some of their movement yesterday, but largely speaking, we kept them very quiet. A magnificent defensive performance.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really offer that much. There weren't a huge amount of huge chances.
No,
A lot of playing around the box and sort of semi-threatening moves, but a bit like us, really. No finish,
no
no
finish.
finished product. And we had the sort of solidity to deal with it, so that was a
Couple of
positive.
couple of smart shots, if you like, smart saves, really, not smart shots. From the
Mm,
edge of the penalty area, I think Sarkic, who is increasingly looking more and more solid in goal as he's building his confidence. But he got down one. I think there was one in the first half, and certainly one in the second half that I recall. Where again, maybe a few weeks ago, maybe those would have gone in. But yesterday, that was all they were restricted to these distant shots. Apart from that, you're right,
yeah,
nothing much in the danger zone. So that's a huge defensive performance. I also want to take my hat off while we're talking about defence, Ben, to Danny Mack, who's playing out of position. But did a really strong job yesterday. I didn't mention him in my stream yesterday. He's not that much, but I want to mention him now because that's a performance across a defensive line that's really showing its mettle at the moment.
yeah. I thought he was superb and um, put some real sort of brutal challenges in
Yes,
to get the crowd going.
yeah,
He knows what a Millwall crowd wants, and he's been in it. And he definitely delivered it. I thought him and Leonard both did the same sort of thing. They ran themselves into the ground, and
yeah.
they got subbed off. I think just because they sort of emptied all the fuel in the tank, they had nothing left, and that's a a mark of how hard they worked.
Crowd really
Very good.
stepped up to it. I mean, you're right. The tackling. If you give a Millwall crowd good solid tackling at the den, you're doing half the job already. Let alone what the result might
Mm.
be. Danny understands that. I think Neil Harris understands that, and I think Ron Leonard also understands that. So, yeah, I mean, it was wonderful to see it. I don't know about you, Ben. I mean, it's part the spectacle side of it to one side, if you like. It just feels so much of a relief to have this cliche, the Millwall back, the one that you're familiar with, the one that you been brought up with, and it's just wonderful to have it back again. If however long this can last, I don't know. It feels like a cup run at the moment, doesn't it? We've got 11 games now to get through, and we've had two good cup wins, and we've got to do another one in the week against Blackburn Rovers. But this kind of spirit will do that.
Yeah, I mean, when the connection between the fans and the players and the management is on point, there's nothing sort of more intimidating than the Millwall
No.
setup, and it was yesterday. It was finally back to what we sort of expect to see. That there was a moment, I think, in the first half. There was a monk chant that went on for about 2 or 3 minutes, a
Yeah,
bit like
yeah,
in the away game,
yeah,
and you just sort of got caught up in it. And
yeah,
I was saying to my mates, like, I bloody missed that. Like that's felt like a long time since we've had that moment.
yeah.
It was good. One area of nostalgia that I hadn't missed was the heart in mouth, hold your breath for 20 minutes. Neil Harris hanging on to a 1-0 win. That's yeah. The stress of that was
Yeah,
flooding back, but
yeah, yeah.
the relief when you get the result it makes it all worth it, I guess.
There's one other chance I've noted here watching the highlights where we didn't create many chances. Listeners, anyone didn't see the game. I mean, obviously there was the goal from Z on the set piece, if you like. But then there was a moment where Watmore chased down a through ball, and the goalkeeper and the defender managed to get very polite in an English way and say, "After you, sir. No, you take it first, sir." And he got
Mm.
past them, and it was a very tight angle. I thought he'd hit the post. It's quite hard to tell whether he hit the post or it came off the shin of the retreating defender, but that would have made a big difference to my blood pressure. Certainly, if that had gone in, then. But as you say, wasn't to be, and the moment when Michael Obafemi came out and then came Ryan Longman, I think there was a collective sense. Okay, this is man the pumps time. They were just hoping that it stays afloat now. The good ship Millwall. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's the choice of Longman's intrigued me. I mean, I'm guessing. I'm interested to know what you think, but I'm guessing he's trying to manage the likes of Idemo to two tough games this week at Blackburn, then Birmingham next week. So resource management as much as anything else, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's why Obafemi came out because
Yeah,
he he had done a lot of work, and he's not done 90 minutes for us yet.
No.
He's definitely building up fitness. He looked better yesterday than
Yeah.
he had in
Yeah.
recent weeks.
Quicker. Yeah.
He doesn't quite fit the playing style, and that's sort of unfortunate for him because I think there is a good player in there. We need to work out a way to get him involved a bit more.
Yeah.
But you know, his competition is a couple of crocs, so he's going to get the chance to play.
Presumably,
Yeah,
he'll start Tuesday night. Presumably, for however
yeah, I
long.
think
You
I think he came off purely just to protect him and get him ready for that. For what is not just Tuesday night, but also next Saturday. It's an absolutely massive week for
Absolutely.
us.
Yeah.
You know, we've had a few of these, but this is a make or break week for us this season.
Well,
Yeah, so
look at the league table, Ben. I mean, we're away at Blackburn, who sit just. It's not even. It must be goals scored because we're minus 13 both on
mm,
39 points. They're in 17th. We're now in 18th. But just Stoke City in the third relegation spot, 38 points. So one win covers them all the way up to Plymouth in 16th. So there's a lot of clubs, including ourselves, obviously, in that mix. But yeah, Blackburn and Millwall, both even Stevens in 17th and 18th, pretty much. 39 points. And then Birmingham next week, who's sitting 20th, 1 point behind us. So yeah, these are the classic Kirbishley method games that you really must win in the mini league, isn't it? Aren't they? And
yeah,
we can't really afford to let points slip. So I'm guessing, as we said, management of resources is part of Neil Harris's and David Livermore's thought process at the moment. But we did it very
yeah,
well yesterday. It was an endurance test towards the end. I must say, I thought I could just see that late equaliser going in.
yeah.
But we survived it. So brilliant performance. Yeah, I mean, I suppose the question arises. I mean, shall we presume that we'll survive? Let's presume, just for the sake of a after dinner conversation here, Ben. Let's presume that we've survived. I mean, is there a long term future for Neil Harris in management? Many people online are saying it's like a life belt appointment. I don't know if you can really look much beyond the end of the season at the moment because we don't know where we'll be next term. But would you like to see him stay? Would you like? Or do you want? I still quite like the ambition of the Joe Edwards, if not him, somebody else. But I don't know. Staying in the Championship is number one. So whether Neil Harris has the managerial capability to have changed with the times, we don't really know the answer to that
Yeah,
one at the moment.
this is heart and head for me. So Harris is obviously not the style of play that we had the ambition to move into,
No,
but the, moving into that, changing that style of play midway through the season was
it's
clearly a
folly. It's
terrible
folly.
idea. Yeah, so it wasn't the way forward. We're in a bit of disarray. We needed someone to come in, stabilise the club, and sort of reset things. There's a bit of an issue coming up in the summer with quite a few contractual
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
changes. You know, people out of contract or in going into their last year, and so we need someone who can just sort of stabilise things and start the process of rebuilding this squad into what we want it to be. And I think Harris is a good appointment for that job. So
18 months at the moment, so that's probably about
yeah,
right for
exactly.
both sides, I suppose. So answering my own question, probably if we survive, we maybe even if we don't survive, he'll stay on at least
Yeah,
for that stability season, if you want to call it that.
yeah. And he's my hero. Him and Tim Cahill were the players banging in the goals when I started going as a kid, and I idolise Neil
Yeah,
Harris. I
yeah.
always have done. Seeing him back, those ridiculously white trainers just sort of, makes me very happy. So I'm gonna back him, but yeah, there is an element of we need to see some kind of evolution of we can't be winning football matches against someone like Rotherham with 30% possession and
No,
that one shot. So we do need to have uh, the plan B that we've desperately needed for years. But right now, it's just purely survival mode, and we need enough points to get over that line, and then start to just sort of be a bit more stable next season, and then we can think about that going in the long term after that.
Anyone looking for signs of improvement, have a look at the stats, listeners. 20% possession at Southampton last week, 34% this week. We've upped our possession rate by 14% there, Ben.
Nailed it.
If that's not the road to success, I don't know what is, listeners. I've got a few tweets here. I love this one from MLL80. It's just literally just popped up before I started recording with Ben. And I had to read it out. It says that he was sat next to three Spanish lads yesterday. He was MLL was surprised to hear them say that the football was better quality than the bottom half of La Liga, which I made me laugh. There we are. Don't moan. There's a range of views online. I mean, one here from Max Finch saying the impact Harris has had on these players is unbelievable. 3 games ago, these players they'd all met each other the night before at the pub. Now they finally look like a team that we know, and we got the ambition back, lifted the whole club. What a bloke! I mean, the power of personality in football is incredible, Ben, because on paper, looking at Joe Edwards, I know we play on grass, listeners, but on paper, the man's CV was, I think, almost so impressive that it was hard to say no to. You know, the fabled references from Tuchel and Marino and all this kind of business. You know. And yet, Neil Harris came from Gillingham and Cambridge, and he's got us fired up because he's Mr. Millwall. The power of personalities, and it's a strange business, football management.
Yeah, and there's no one bigger at Millwall Football Club than Neil Harris.
No,
I think if as some have suspected, there was some kind of issue with the playing squad, showing some level of not listening to Edwards or not following instruction or not believing in the message, whatever was going on, there's no way you can do that to Neil Harris because you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Because he is Millwall, and the fans, they're singing his name before anyone else's. So they've got to do the job for him, and that's made I think that's a big part of what's made the difference.
It must be apparent to those players, anyone that were on the kind of, I don't know what wing of doubt or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, the fact at Southampton there was a general lift in the club, and there was a huge lift. It just in the moment you arrived yesterday, it just felt like a weight had been removed from our collective shoulders. And I mean, I'm always a bit wary, Ben, of any game where you're kind of confident that you're going to get a win. But I felt quite confident yesterday, and that's after 50 odd years. I should know a lot better than that, shouldn't I? But I always fall for it every time. But there was a sense of belief yesterday because Neil's back, and that's a powerful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't want one of them white trainers up your arse. So put in a performance.
As ever, though, we can't leave the conversation without looking at one or two of the doubting Thomases that are lurking online, listeners, because this is why you tune into a podcast. It can't all be positive, and it's not.
For fans having a difference of opinion.
Opinion. I think some have developed with that little taste of Joe Edwards's, kind of caviar and oysters at the top table. They've developed fine tastes, listeners, fine dining. Michael Cole here says it was terrible. He predicts terrible football for the next 18 months under Harris. 34 possession, which was up from last week, Michael, and 54% pass accuracy. We made passes. I didn't see any. Shocking. He says lucky deflection for the goal. It was awful to watch. He says. And then there's another one here. Oh, it's same chap, Michael Cole. He said he would rather go down under Edwards because this is shocking to watch. I can't get my head round that kind of opinion. I mean, I'm not picking Michael particularly, although I've just picked him, but there's a lot of people out there saying stuff along the lines of, that was a terrible performance. What do we think we're going to get, Ben? I mean, we're carrying, it's like we're coming back from a bombing raid on the Ruhr. We've been shot to pieces, and we're trying to limp home with our, half a squad practically. So I don't know what people are expecting from a Neil Harris survival brief. Barcelona Mark II, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, good luck with that. That style of play might have looked nice in League One, but I'll have the 10 to 15 million pound if we could stay up. Please.
Absolutely. Blood, sweat and tears. Blood, sweat and tears is what we're going to get for 11 games to go now. And
Yeah.
I think we've got a lot more sense of collective hope than we had just a fortnight ago. So long may that continue. Big game on Tuesday night, as we've said already, Ben. Tough one. We've got to go there looking for a point at least, and possibly nick a result. We can't afford to lose it up there.
Yeah, I think the next two. We need to get 4 points.
4 points, I agree.
And that keeps us in the conversation, keeps us hopefully pulling away a little bit from that pack. And it looks strange at the moment. I mean, Sheffield Wednesday are only I think 3 points behind us. So and they're second from bottom. So it's a ridiculous league. It might be a records point to stay up kind of situation.
Yeah.
And right now, all the teams at the bottom are the ones in form. So those those squads in the middle of the table, your Swanseas and the like.
Your Watford, 44.
Yeah.
They showed nothing yesterday, really.
No, so they've got to be looking over their shoulders a little bit, because one of them could quite easily get dragged into this. But all we've got to focus on is making sure we're one of the ones that pull out of it. So, forget any ambition about playing style right now. Forget any desire on how much possession we're going to have or whatever. It's just pick whoever's going to get us over the line and hit, put that performance in and get the points that we need to stay up, and then we can start to worry about the rest after. There is a problem with a long-term plan. You've been saying it for a long time. I think what's the vision for this football club. There are still questions over what the hell's happened to this training ground and academy, what's going on with this redevelopment and the upgrade to the ground. There are questions to be asked about the fitness of the squad this season, and players being too injury prone. Surely there's an issue going on there. There are big questions over the club, but right now all of those have to be put to one side until May the 4th or May the 3rd or whatever it is.
End of the season. Agree. I'm just looking at the league table. Just one other thing to throw in before I close with you, Ben. As you say, it's very tightly packed. 1 point separating Stoke in 22nd, up to Blackburn in 17th. Also, the other thing, the goal differences amongst that kind of lowest pack there, if you like, including ourselves, all vary around the -13, 14, 12 mark, 15. So it's very, very, very tight. So it's probably not a situation where people saying where's Roman Esse? Well, probably he may get some time, but it's probably not going to be starting time. I wouldn't have thought until safety is assured.
Yeah.
Ben, big thank you for joining me on a Sunday morning, mate. Always appreciate it.
Pleasure. And hopefully we have a few more positive chats.
Yeah. Wasn't it great to listen to Status Quo? Not often you can say that you're great to listen to Status Quo, but it was yesterday coming out of the ground. Rocking all over the world. Big thank you, Ben Anthony. Thanks for joining me, mate. I appreciate it.
Nice to talk to you, mate.
Achtung, Millwall.